Well, hello there, everybody. Good evening. I just drove all over Maine to go pick up wine from a crashed van and then go deliver it. And I'm back. It's super dark outside now, so doing this inside. Here, this is exciting. What's this? What's that? Well, that's a tank. What's this? NuovÓ. And then over here, look at that, what it is. Vintage Umbria Rosso 2020. That's this year. So this is Danilo Marcucci in Umbria, in Magione. This is whatever it is. I don't know even if I should say like interpretation of Beaujolais Nouveau. But I don't know, response, joke, something. It's Sangiovese from 2020. You know, that wild farmed, hand harvested, and then fermented, like destemmed. I don't know if berries just picked off by hand, thrown into a big plastic tank, and just let ferment with wild yeast, which is, you know, all of his fermentations are native yeast anyway, but so native yeast fermentation with the top covered, no punch downs for 10 days. So when you do that, you know, the fermentation gets going and the yeast is producing a whole lot of CO2. And if you don't work the wine at all, if you don't like do a punch down or something like that, and if you cover the top of it, then, you know, the CO2 builds up and you effectively get like a carbonic fermentation because the CO2 displaces all of the oxygen in there. It's not like full-on modern Beaujolais carbonic fermentation where they like seal the tank and pump in CO2 and stuff like that. In this case, it's just sort of like the naturally occurring CO2, and he's not working it at all and stuff. It's not like airtight, but it does allow the fermentation to go pretty quickly, and doesn't communicate a ton of tannins to the wine. It says it's 10.5%. I don't know if these were grapes that were harvested early. I would be a little surprised, considering how thoughtful and thorough and detail-oriented Danilo is. I would be really surprised if he hadn't thought this through and like thought ahead and harvested this particular vineyard, or picked out, had like a couple of sites picked out in advance, like knowing the clones of Sangiovese there, knowing that they're clones of Sangiovese that, like, I don't know, have more fruit, less tannin, less concentration, that are like juicier and brighter, and harvested them a little bit early to make this wine the way that it is. So anyway, 2020 Umbria Sangiovese. He's calling it like ancestral carbonic, like old. It's how a lot of wine used to be made a long time ago, because it's an easy way to do the fermentation. Anyway. It does actually smell a lot like if you're familiar with his Conestabile della Staffa like Rosso, it does actually smell reminiscent of that. Smells like juicy young Sangiovese. It's like dry cherry, some raspberry. It's not super, super exuberant, but it does smell really pretty. It's mostly fruit. Tiny bit of black olive, too. And black pepper. You know, black pepper, black olive. Look at the color. It's very, very young looking. Ooh, that's nice. It's just, yeah, that's just, it's very fresh in a, like, clean, alive tasting sort of way. It's not very, I'm not meaning fresh in a, like, crisp, acidic kind of way. It has nice tannin, too. Like, Tannin. If you're thinking of like normal carbonic maceration wines, like this is not. It has real tannin to it. It's not like aggressively young, but it has like real substantial tannin and structure that I don't associate with carbonic fermentation. Yeah, yeah. It tastes young, fun, really easy drinking. Should I even have said that? Easy drinking is a term that gets used a lot, to the point where I feel like maybe it doesn't actually have meaning anymore. Okay, how am I? Medium bodied, juicy, fun, medium bodied, clean, pure fruit, like raspberry, some a little bit of blueberry, but like not too much. It's not like a ton of blue fruit. And then the tannins in the finish, like the tannins are there, and the tannins are just as much sort of a component of the wine as the fruit is, but they're not like super aggressive tannins. They are young tannins though. Like drinking this, you know you're not drinking Gamay. You know you're not drinking, I don't know, whatever. You're not drinking like young like carbonic Grenache or something like that. Like it tastes Italian. It tastes like Sangiovese. It has that dry, earthy tannin of Sangiovese, even though it's not like it's very fruit forward because it's so young. It's really cool. It's really like cool, juicy, delicious, fun to drink, thirst quenching. It's another term that I use a lot, but I feel like maybe I overuse. But this is really thirst quenching. It has that like that right balance of fruit, acidity, and there's a little bit of like salty minerality in it that you have to really look for to notice that it's there. But it is there, and it just makes the wine more satisfying and fun to drink. Super interesting and fun. I'm glad that Danilo is doing this. And it's so cool to be able to taste something from 2020 that was harvested over there in Umbria in like, I don't know, August or September or something like that, like just a few months ago. So there you go. Check that out. It's just coming into America now. It's shipping out from New Jersey, from Selection Naturelle, and I'm going to go order a bunch of it.